about in the community that actually understands what the nuclear accord includes? That are sophisticated about number of centrifuges and use the way the specifics of the deal. Is there a consensus in the expert community, Neil, about whether this is in fact a good deal for the United States?
I think by and large, if I had to say where it tilts more towards the positive than the negative among the people that really follow this. The core argument that Kerry and others have been making is we could never have gotten a perfect deal. There was no way that we could get any kind of deal that would have not given them various things, particularly the removal of sanctions and basically them re-entering the international community. And I think the thing that's disturbed a lot of people the most is the fact that there was very much the desire to have some ability to have snap inspections and being able to come in quickly if there was some concern about some violations. And there had always been talk of it being kind of anywhere, anytime. And in the end, the any time came down to 24 days. And a lot of people were like, what, 24 days? That's a lot of notice. And the argument they make in response is, well, you can't these things leave traces behind. They're not easily moved. 24 days isn't that big a thing. But for most people, I think the desire was, couldn't you have made it more like 10 days or something? or
24
a week?
hours,
Yeah.
maybe.
Right.
Yeah. There's also the criticism that President Obama and Secretary of State Kerry wanted the deal so much for legacy reasons that they were willing to make a bad deal. Is that gaining any traction, Ed?
Well, and I think Kerry sort of, with the way he scoffed at some of the questions yesterday, suggests that, you don't know what you're talking about. I've just spent the last year and a half working on this. How could you dare question it? I think they run the risk of certainly having that get amplified just by their mere behavior over the course of the next few weeks as Congress debates this. But yeah, there was certainly concern about that as it was being negotiated. The deadline was moved, 3 or 4 times over the course of the talks in an effort to keep them going. I guess you could make the argument that it's better to keep them at the table and try as hard as you can. But certainly if it prevails, if it happens, and it's still a very big if, you'd be underlining, italicizing, and bolding that if right now, it will be a significant piece of their legacy, especially for Kerry, who has been on the job now since the start of this second term, but has spent a considerable amount of time on this at the same time that he's doing other things like Cuba and dealing with other parts of the world.